Well, welcome back to another edition of 42nd Street Pete's Grindhouse. And unfortunately, this news broke a couple days ago that Sika, one half of the Wild Samoans, had passed away at age 79. Not the Sika that does porn movies, because to a lot of us, she's been gone for a while, but that's neither here nor there. The Samoans were one of the greatest tag teams of all times and one of the wildest, too. I remember before they became the Wild Samoans, they were the Islanders in Eddie Einhorn and Pedro Martinez's IWA. I remember a match where they basically picked up Ivan Koloff and threw him across the ring like a spear. These guys were like super tough. I think they became the Wild Samoans before they hit the WWE, because I remember on Georgia Championship Wrestling, which used to be on TBS, 605, Saturday night, didn't miss it. They had some kind of thing, I think it was Thanksgiving, that they used to run this show at the Omni. Basically, they would bring in tag teams from all over the country and have some kind of tournament. And on one, they were bringing in the Wild Samoans. And they were supposed to wrestle Stan Hansen and Ole Anderson, who were standing by the desk with Gordon Soley doing commentary while the Samoans basically eviscerated their opponents. The Samoans were managed by Sonny King at that point, and he whispered into he whispered into Sika's ear, and Sika picked up one of the guys he was wrestling and threw him at Hansen and Anderson, starting an on-camera brawl to, build up that situation for the show. Then they wound up in the WWF under the tutelage of Captain Lou Albano. That's where they went really nuts. And that's where they really took off too. And Sika is survived by his son, Roman Reigns. Afa is still with us, not doing too good, had a couple strokes, I believe, or something like that. But these guys were incredibly kind people, because Afa used to have a school in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. I believe it was the Wild Samoans Academy of Wrestling or something like that, where he was basically taking kids off the street and teaching them how to wrestle and trying to clean up that area as far as juvenile delinquency and crime went. There's a huge bloodline of Samoans: Rikishi, Umaga, Yokozuna. All these guys were all Samoans, and there's a whole new bunch of them in there now. We had Haku, aka Ming. His sons are wrestling, so these guys are all still going strong. So again, my condolences to the family, and Sika, rest in peace. And I have to mention what happened Thursday night on this misbegotten debate. After 10 minutes into it, I had to turn it off, because when Biden basically shit the bed, that was it. I know this was a carefully orchestrated plan by the Democrats to suck Trump in, figuring he would chicken out at the 11th hour. Well, he didn't, and the worst case scenario happened. Biden beat a Mitch McConnell. I really hate to say this at this point, but if the Democrats want to win this election, and if the Democrats are serious about pulling this country together, someone has to tell Biden he can't run. Somebody else has to take his place, because all we're seeing now is a demented liar who basically wants to turn this country into a theocracy, who will put himself in charge as president for life, will basically overturn any women's reproductive rights, who basically is called all servicemen suckers and losers. And I went through this whole deal the other day with somebody, because these people are so rabid on Yahoo News and shit like that, where you can respond to this shit, that when I had pointed out that, and this is another thing too, I caught this part, that he claimed that his administration cured COVID. No, you allowed over 300,000 Americans to die under your watch of COVID, and one of your supporters says, well, they were no great loss because they were obese, they were sick, they were this, they were that. Nice empathy you fucking have, right? So, honestly, at this stage of the game, I'd have to say we're fucked. We've been fucked by these two political parties. One wants a dictatorship and a theocracy, and basically wants to make corporate America the rule, and the corporate, he said something last night about how he cut corporate taxes so there'd be more money pumped into the economy. Millionaires don't spend fucking money, dope ass. You're one of them. Billionaires, whatever. It's never going to trickle down. It's never going to change. And as far as inflation, well, I can lay that on Biden too, because it's the corporate mentality that keeps inflation afloat. In other words, that these companies have lost so much money during the pandemic, now they're making up and it ain't going to go down, because once something goes up, it fucking doesn't go down. So, didn't want to go on a rant here. I just want everybody to know how completely disgusted I am with the situation and how both parties suck. And while we're on that subject, this flag has been hanging up for a while. I know we're into July and I'll probably take it down for the next video shoot. But I actually had someone who was disappointed in me for hanging this flag up. It's in the comments somewhere. And I'm like, you were disappointed in me? How? I've never made any bones about it that I support the community. Would you have said the same thing if I hung up a Black Lives Matter flag or a Confederate flag or a Nazi flag? This isn't a pissing contest. I promote what I want to promote and I stand behind who I want to stand behind. And as the age-old question says, you don't like what you're seeing? Switch the channel. So that's our show for today. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. And please start thinking about what's going on, because this is really fucking bad. And stay safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.